Inglés.
I can't.
Hablas inglés.
It doesn't work.
So we got an email from Joe, read by Joe.
Yeah,
Joe Sandwich.
Exactly. Joe Sandwich.
Well, I don't know. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know about that. I mean,
That's gonna get cut out. That's gonna get cut out. That's gonna get cut out.
Okay.
He's written 2 books on the subject, and he posits that the cause. Let me just start the whole thing over again without us.
Okay.
I'm so sorry.
We're gonna get a shock collar for you.
I think it turned into the Leela shock collar. Have you seen that episode?
The what?
Futurama, where Leela has the shock collar.
No, I never.
I vaguely remember this.
And it just turns into sexual pleasure for her.
What I could.
How to find them?
Well, you clearly didn't grow up a lady.
It's very clear I didn't grow up as a lady.
Because I know all this. Yeah.
You know how to find fairies?
You want to tell us?
I mean, do you want me to tell you?
Sure.
Yeah.
And we're oh, come on.
Okay.
It's okay.
Okay.
It's all right. The train has stopped.
Okay.
So now we're in a forward direction again.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay, go down to the bar car.
Okay.
And we're going to keep going.
Okay.
I'm going with you. Need a martini.
Making 0 promises for anything. Guess I need to readjust this a little bit. We need like a
We'll stand.
a little music stand right here, because there's not a good way to. Okay, hold on. Wait. Everything. God, I hope I don't knock that over. Okay. Well, hey there. This is Thinking Sideways, the podcast.
Okay.
Keep laughing at me. No, you want me to do that over? You don't want that one?
Please, no.
Okay.
Okay.
Boop. Boop. Boop, boop.
And so anyway, he shows up and takes up residence there. And
Can we do that again without the so anyway?
No.
okay. So local Indians. Okay, let's leave out the so too. All right. So our okay. One more time here.
He says, "Hey, Thinking Sideways." But
We should know how to pronounce that.
oh. Okay. He says.
Okay.
Do you need your paper, Steve?
Oh yeah, it's right there.
No, I haven't.
Okay. All right, here we go.
So mine.
No, mine was the one that was creased.
Mine was the one that was spent in half.
Crap.
Oh.
Nope, too late.
No, I want.
Stuck with my cooties. Didn't make any notes.
Ew.
I
Okay.
slobbered all over it.
Cooties, I watched you.
All right, you guys, be serious.
From you?
I know.
In that voice. Be serious.
Be serious.
Be serious, you guys.
Yeah.
This is a serious show.
Yeah. Okay, here we go.
The toy?
The toy.
You
You're lying.
often refer to your toilet as the toy?
No. Sometimes when I'm talking to the cats, yeah, well, I'll refer to it as a toy.
Please tell me you're not serious.
No, not really.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, so do you need my computer to
No,
read this?
I'll
email?
read it.
Okay.
I have a smartphone.
You have a Schmarty Pants phone?
Weird.
On a Schmarty Pants phone.
Also, Spotify is a thing if you forget to download the show. No, it's not Spotify.
Yeah. I think he meant to say Tumblr. Hi there. Welcome again to another episode of Danger Probe.
No. No.
Nope, we're starting that again.
Okay, hang on. Hi there, and welcome to another episode of Danger Probe. I think it sounds better.
Come on.
All right, here we go. They were taken to the hospital. They had skull fractures. They had skull fractures.
You want to just do that whole thing over so we don't have another fracture?
Yeah, let's do that.
God damn it.
Because my rapping skills suck, and I know
They're
it.
so good. I just want to have a record of it.
No.
Please?
Nope.
Please?
Continue with your story, Devin.
Well, let me sing my rap song first.
Okay.
Man, swinging in the how much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? I would love to do that to some rap music. Check it out. Yeah. So anyway, I think that's a song we need to record sometime.
I think we just did.
With musical accompaniment.
Nope.
Oh, yeah, I'm totally going to lay some bad beats underneath that, bro.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody.
Please use that.
What the hey, everybody?
Hey, everybody.
I kind of like the hi there.
When the girls failed to miss the appointment that they'd set with that local guide that we were talking about earlier.
No, they didn't.
They didn't fail to miss it.
Yeah,
they totally missed it.
They succeeded in missing it.
Hey, remember how I said I was going to start talking gibberish? Just 10-minute
warm
long.
up.
Yeah, the warm up. This is me dribbling the ball around the court.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I just want my deep fried cheese curds. Just calm down. I'm healthy.
No, it's not.
It's healthy.
It's disgusting.
No, it's good for you.
No, it's disgusting.
Can we just...
Okay, yeah, we can.
Thanks, Dad.
How much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? Check it out. Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah. How much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? Yeah.
Thinking sideways.
I don't understand.
Does not compute.
You never know.
Insufficient data to formulate a reply.
What?
Stories of things we simply don't know the answer to.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Thinking Sideways, the podcast. I'm Devin, joined as always by
Joe.
and
Steve?
I like that we have to say the and.
Yes.
Yes. We're going to do a big ol' mystery. It's just a big ol' mystery.
It's very succinct.
This is very succinct. We're going to talk about the Georgia Guidestones today.
Which many of you may have heard of.
You probably you've heard of them. They're a granite monolithic monument. It's hard.
I think it's an it because it's several, but they're assembled into an it. It's
But
like
it's-
they don't say
It's a single structure.
Stonehenge. It's just
It
I
is
just confused
Stonehenge,
myself.
but it's Guidestones. I don't know.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them, not just one.
So this granite monument is in Elbert County in Georgia in the United States of America. I guess we'll start with a description of what it looks like.
It's probably a good place to start.
Of course, pictures on the website.
Yep.
Absolutely, and a nifty drawing too.
Yeah, we're definitely going to put that drawing up because I think it's the best way, most descriptive way.
It'll help you understand some of these bizarre things that we're going to describe.
Absolutely. So, as Steve was kind of alluding to, often this is called the American Stonehenge.
Yeah.
It's about 19 feet and 3 inches tall, which for our non-American listeners is
How many meters?
5.87 meters.
Okay, close
Right?
enough. That sounds kind of right.
I believe that conversion.
I'm really good at conversions, so it's obviously right.
Wait, can one of our listeners go out to the web and find a
Can you
and
convert
send
real
us an
quick?
email?
Yeah, thanks. It's 6 granite slabs that weigh 237,746 pounds.
That's collectively. Not
Collectively,
these.
not each, yeah. Which is
Yeah, that would be huge if they each weighed that.
They'd be even bigger.
somehow, it's very small, but it weighs a lot.
Is that what was that movie where they had the miniature Stonehenge?
Are you talking about Spinal Tap?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's what this makes me think of.
Man, I don't remember
don't-
that part at
You don't
all.
remember that in Spinal Tap
Nope.
when
Yeah.
we're gonna have a huge Stonehenge on stage, and then they lower it. It's about 8 inches tall, and they have little people dancing around it, and they're all upset. It was in danger of being crushed by little people.
It was
I don't remember that part
they,
at
they drew
all.
it. They drew it all up, but instead of but they put the dimensions in inches instead of feet.
That's an easy mistake to make.
So this is not the one from Spinal Tap.
No.
No,
it's huge.
Looks a lot different.
It
Yes.
does look different. It's
Much.
only Stonehenge-esque in that it is monolithic stone.
And it's made of big ass rocks.
Yeah, really big rocks.
Yep.
However, this one was made in the 20th century, sorry.
Yeah, late
Yes.
late
in
70s.
the really late 70s. It was revealed in 1980, just to dispel any kind of weird. We know how it was built. Don't worry. There are 5 slabs that are astronomically aligned.
Well, 4.
There's 5.
Well, no, there's 4.
There's 4 that are
aligned,
around.
and then there's the skinny one in the center that's not really aligned with anything. Well, it's aligned with the North Star.
Yeah, so it's part of that.
I guess
and
you
then-
could say that's astronomically aligned too.
Yeah, and then there's a capstone. So there are 5 that are the full 19 feet tall.
Vertical.
And then there's a smaller capstone on the top.
Which is still, big enough to crush your car.
Oh, so ginormous. Yeah. There's a stone tablet that was set in the ground kind of west of the structure that provides notes and history and a bit about the purpose of the guide stones.
Mm-hmm.
So on the 4 stones that Joe was arguing with me about just moments ago,
The 4 bigger
the
stones.
4 bigger that are aligned, I believe they're aligned north, south, east, west,
No, I don't
Are
think
they
so.
north-
It's like
they're
northeast, southeast,
Yeah.
southwest, yeah.
but they're all, aligned.
They're in an X pattern.
And on each side of those is an inscription. It's the same inscription on every side, but it's in 8 different languages. Is that
Yeah.
Yes. English, Spanish, Swahili, Hindu, Hebrew, Arabic, Chinese, and Russian. Which we'll talk about, the languages a little bit later. Some of them are really widely spoken languages, but some of them aren't, and that's a bit of a mystery. And it's 10 kind of New World commandments, if you will,
Yeah.
carved into these.
Like New Age kind of things.
Yeah, they refer to them as New World commandments.
Or New World Order
The
commandments.
New World Order commandments. So we'll read them one at a time. I guess we'll just kind of go around in a circle.
Yeah,
And read
we can
them.
do that.
1. Maintain humanity under 500 million in perpetual balance with nature.
2. Guide reproduction wisely, improving fitness and diversity.
3. Unite humanity with a living new language.
4. Rule passion, faith, tradition, and all things with tempered reason.
5. Protect people and nations with fair laws and just courts.
6. Let all nations rule internally, resolving external disputes in a world court.
7. Avoid petty laws and useless officials.
I like that one. 8. Balance personal rights with social duties.
9. Prize truth, beauty, love, seeking harmony with the infinite.
10. Be not a cancer on the earth. Leave room for nature. Leave room for nature. So that's the 10 commandments. And then on the capstone,
Can we repeat that in the other languages?
No. I mean, if you speak all those languages,
Of course I do.
you totally can.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a shorter message on the capstone. It's on the 4 different sides of the capstone. Because the capstone is laying flat, right?
Yeah,
so it's
so
on the small edges. You
the
can picture
capstone's-
that, right?
Capstone's like what, about 1.5 foot thick, something like that.
Yeah. So it's
Yeah.
on the raw edges, not the top.
You'd like to read
And
if it was on the top.
it's inscribed in 4 ancient languages: Babylonian, Classical Greek, Sanskrit, and Egyptian hieroglyphs. And it says, the Georgia Guy Stones Center Cluster erected March 22nd, 1980. And then below that, there's an outline of a square inside which is written, "Let these be guide stones to an age of reason." So that's cool.
Okay.
I guess.
I don't know. You can keep describing it. I do want to, just as an aside, some of these guidelines have been a little controversial.
Yeah, and we're definitely going to talk about
Yeah. We
that.
probably shouldn't put the cart before the horse on this one.
Yeah, there's a lot more. There's more stuff to talk about with the astronomical features. Not astronomical features. There's 3 main ones, and they are laid out on this stone that's placed a little bit away. It's a granite stone that's placed kind of to the west of the Stonehenge. It's just embedded in the ground.
Slab in the ground you were
This
talking
big old
about.
slab in the ground, yeah. So it outlines the astronomical features and a little bit more information. The first one is a channel through the stone that indicates the celestial pole. And that's the one that's it kind of like goes up diagonally through the center pole.
Yeah, the center stone.
Center stone, sorry.
Yeah. And obviously it points, true north.
To the North Star.
Yeah.
Yeah. The second is a horizontal slot that indicates the annual travel of the sun. So there's kind of like a...
They call it the mailbox slot?
Yeah,
Yeah, I like
it
that.
looks a
Good
little
name.
bit like a mail slot.
Yeah.
It's kind of in the center, kind of at eye level.
But it tapers down on the other side to a hole.
Yep.
And
And then it's like pointed towards the sun on the equinox.
yeah, on the vernal and autumnal.
Equinox. Yeah.
And the third is a sunbeam through capstone that marks noontime throughout the year. So there's a little hole through the capstone that marks noon at any given time of the year, I guess.
Yeah, because the sun's going to be in a little different position in the sky
Yeah.
every day of the year.
And
Yeah.
I didn't ever see, and I'm presuming, I didn't notice this in any of the images that I was looking at, where that's at. Is it that kind of, because when you do the travel of the sun through the year, it's almost the infinity loop. So is that etched in the stone? Because I never saw that, and I wasn't sure. I presumed it was there.
I don't know.
I look for pictures of that too.
Yeah, and they
there's-
just don't exist.
Yeah, there's all kinds of web pages devoted to this stuff. And,
There's a
yeah.
weird, smooth area. The edges of the rocks are kind of, stylistically shorn.
Right, and
Almost.
and I'd seen that smooth area, which is what made
Yeah.
me presume that there had to be some kind of inscription on that piece of stone.
But nobody's taken a picture of that, and
we've
so
seen
I
a bunch
don't
of
know.
illustrations that are
Yeah.
very elaborate and well done, but they didn't ever call that out. So maybe it's not there if they're
Yeah,
not calling it out. But
I
it
guess.
seems weird that you would call that out specifically with a hole in the stone and then not have any way for somebody to reference it. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, there's
I
got to
guess,
be.
but it also, I think, these stones are meant to stand for thousands and thousands of years, right? And it's generally accepted, I'm a little bit jumping ahead, but generally accepted that they're meant to guide repopulation, after an apocalyptic event. So I guess it may be that it's allowing for
Shifts.
but,
Celestial shifts.
yeah, but I don't know.
Okay. No, that's why I was asking. because
Joe's
it
looking at me
confused
like I'm the biggest idiot in the whole world.
Oh no.
No? Okay. That's not what that look means? Okay.
I was just thinking, on the post-apocalyptic world, these guys 3 counties over. Hey, you know what day of the week it is, or what the date is? No, let's get on our horses and ride over the guidestones.
Oh, so it was this lost in thought. Look,
Yeah.
got it. Okay, so going back to what's inscribed on this stone, it says author R.C. Christian, a pseudonym. A pseudonym.
That's the one typo in the whole monument.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's an
Which I
N
gotta
instead
say-
of an M.
Yeah, I gotta say that's pretty impressive. If I had
Yeah.
to chisel all those things out, I'd be dropping whole words and
Agreed.
stuff.
Yeah.
There'd be
Can I
a lot of those
abbreviate
spots
this?
where I put the word in above and have to carve a little V in below.
And I want to make it very clear that is inscribed. It make sure on the stone it says R.C. Christian. It's a pseudonym.
Yeah.
Just to make that very clear.
Yep.
Because when the first couple of times I read through the stuff, I was like, yes, I know it's a pseudonym. Stop it. You don't have to explain to me within this reading I'm doing. Oh no, it's actually, you look at pictures and it's actually inscribed there.
Yeah.
So below that it says sponsors, a small group of Americans who seek the age of reason. And then below that it says time capsule. Sorry, time capsule.
Time capsule. You've been listening to David Bowie, haven't you?
Placed 6 feet below this spot on
Blank.
to be opened on
Blank.
There's, as a little aside, treasure hunters are generally they're like, oh man, there's a time capsule under there. Nobody knows what's in it. We don't even really know when it was put down there, when it's supposed to be opened. Well, it turns out that actually a time capsule was never put under there. It was supposed to be, local 4th graders or something, right? Make this time capsule, but that, as far as anybody knows, that never actually happened. It was supposed to happen after the big reveal. They were gonna, dig down. So treasure hunters have gone and tried to find this time capsule that's under there.
They beat the crap out of that piece of stone.
Beat the crap out of it and the ground surrounding it. It was originally totally inset with the ground, and now it's halfway out. It's kind of just sitting on top of the ground now because people are digging away around it.
That's so idiotic. It's a time capsule. It's not going to be filled with gold watches and Krugerrands.
Yeah, but I think, that people, it's not so much for the treasure, it's that I think people think that there would be answers in there, like an explanation of this whole situation or something.
And here's the thing that I thought of as soon as I came across that information about people trying to dig it up. I thought, what the simplest way to stop that would be is for the county that owns this monument to just go get somebody with a ground radar and run it across that slab of stone and then make that publicly available to say, hey, look, there's nothing under here. Stop digging it up.
Yeah, so here's what I want to say about that and the guidestones in general is that there is a bevy of conspiracy theories surrounding this thing, and I'm not 100% sure that the kind of people who are going out there looking for this stuff would necessarily be convinced by that. I think that a lot of people would think that it was just doc.
Yeah, true. Probably
raise a good point.
Probably the best thing to do is to actually go out there with some heavy equipment and pull the stone out and dig down underneath it about 10 feet. Show it and make sure there's lots and lots of the public there to witness this. There's no time capsule. Then you fill it back in, put the rock back,
or actually put a time capsule under there.
Yeah,
finally.
Yeah. There you go.
Maybe.
Here you go, guys. Look, 4th graders.
Yeah.
Put it in there.
Yeah.
The Nintendo Wii is down there forever.
It's down there forever until it becomes obsolete next year.
It would be kind of hard to retrieve that time capsule
Under that giant slab of granite.
Yeah, it would be.
Yeah. So I don't know what the plan.
I've always wanted to open up a little box and time capsule box and have a little dancing, singing frog jump out.
From the Looney Tunes?
Oh, no. Yeah, that little frog.
Yeah, that guy.
So, I guess we'll move on to some kind of theory things. Because there's 2 aspects to this. We'll talk a little bit about the problems some people have with these stones.
Which has led some people to vandalize
Seriously
the guide
vandalize the guide stones. And then we'll talk about the theory surrounding who created it. Because I think that's the real mystery here is who.
Okay, yeah, and I was going to say I know there's a lot of stuff about who did it, and that I was hoping we were going to get into that because that's pretty interesting stuff.
That is, and that's the only real mystery here.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Who that guy was and who he represented.
Yeah, so obviously the biggest problem that a lot of people have with this is with that first commandment, to keep the human population under 500 million.
That's going to be kind of hard to attain.
Yeah, it actually, I guess it works out to, if you were going to do it by killing people, it works out to killing 12 of every 13 people
according
on
to
Earth.
The current population of the Earth.
So, yeah, I guess to put it another way, it means that nobody would exist on this Earth except for the population of India.
Does that mean we're going to die?
Yep. No,
man.
So this is the thing, right, is that a lot of people think that this means we need to cull down humanity is what this is calling for.
By killing lots of
And
people.
I've actually seen that in charts and pie charts that people made that were illustrated based off. They're like the cull ratio.
Yeah, and I think that's a really horrible misunderstanding of what the guide stones are meant to be for. The wonderful magazine Wired did an article on this. Among, pretty much everybody's done an article on this.
Yeah, that's true.
But, one of the things that they agree with me that, and, most people kind of do, that these guide stones are meant to last a really long time, and they're meant to help guide like a repopulation effort or
a rebuilding of
civilization after a huge catastrophe like an apocalypse situation of some sort. So that's, it's that you would rebuild your society and think, okay, well, we're rebuilding, so we're going to try and do it right this time, at least according to this, quote, New World Order.
So,
Age of Reason.
So the day's survivors crawling out from under the rubble in Central Europe, for example. It's like, we need to send one pilgrim to Georgia. Yeah, I guess.
Some people point to, there's a guidebook that goes along with the Georgia Guidestones.
The Georgia Guidebook?
The Georgia Guidestone Guidebook. That's not a fake thing, it's a real thing.
And I don't believe it was actually written by the people who drew up the specs and paid for the stones. I thought it was written by the company.
I'm unclear on that.
I got the feeling that it was written by whoever
by
commissioned.
R.C. Christian.
Yeah, and his group that commissioned it because of the stuff that's in it falls very much in line with the writings that are on the stone.
Yeah, it could be.
So it says, there's a little quote from here. Says, it's difficult to seed wisdom in closed human minds. Cultural inertias are not easily overcome. Unfolding world events and the sad record of our race dramatize the shortcomings of traditional agencies in government human affairs. The approaching crisis may make mankind willing to accept a system of world law which will stress the responsibility of individual nations in regulating internal affairs, which will assist them in peaceful management of international frictions. It's a little bit of a long quote there, sorry.
Yeah.
But people kind of point to that in trying to prove that they think that it should be culling, not a rebuilding. I still think it's bunk.
It's culling.
I disagree. I think it's definitely not. Another one of the things that some people kind of have a problem with is the second one, which is the reproduce wisely, improving diversity and fitness. And again, I think that refers to repopulation. But some people kind of look at it as
sort of a pro-eugenics message.
Kind of, yeah, and kind of regulating family units. Matching people up, and kind of my favorite book is Ender's Game, and in that a lot of times the parents are matched up based on
genetic diversity.
Not diversity so much, but like what they can bring to the table. Both the parents are really, really smart. Blah blah blah. They're going to be paired together. Stupider people are going to be paired together. Not in the way that this would ask for, right? That you want diversity, so you would just kind of try and breed the healthiest specimens possible. In Ender's Game, of course, it's, trying to breed the smartest people possible, but that's something totally different. But people look at that and kind of think that that's the sort of thing that's going on, or that it's kind of going towards a China, child cap thing.
Well, let's face it, it's kind of vague. So the whole thing is kind of vague. Reproduce wisely could mean don't have too many kids. It could mean, don't have sex with stupid people. Or it could be a call for governments to regulate who gets to have sex with who and have kids with who.
Also, I'm going to be really offensive here and say it's in Georgia, so maybe it's like don't sleep with your cousin.
Yeah, there you go.
Because you never know.
No, I mean it could be that to maintain genetic diversity, which means don't breed in the same gene pool.
Yeah.
Which anybody who has grown up in a rural community or a small town, everybody's related.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's an issue.
Yeah.
It's I'm related to him, who's related to her, who's related to him, and that's kind of from a genetic standpoint, not the best way to do it.
Well, it's like in Iceland. I'm sure you guys know about this in Iceland, that there's a registry of who's related to who, and you can look up online when you become interested in somebody. You look up online if you're related to that person or not, because everybody's kind of
I
related.
didn't know that.
You want to find out how closely related you are.
Yeah, so you go to find out, and apparently like the young people are talking a lot about this because you have to like actually be careful if you're gonna accidentally breed with somebody that you didn't know that you were like only 1 or 2 steps removed from.
Oh, jeez.
You're welcome, everyone.
Yeah.
Fact of the day.
I'm moving to Iceland because, hey, anybody can breed with me. Yeah, so anyway, so nobody knows what that means. What about 3?
What about 3?
Oh,
wanna talk about
a
3?
living new language. What a great idea. It's like Esperanto went over so well. Oh, you done talking about number 2? Do you want to talk about
No, that's fine.
Yeah. That's like uniting humanity with a new language.
Which one's that?
That's number 3.
No, what's the language you just referred to? Which one is that?
Esperanto?
Oh, Esperanto?
Yeah.
Yeah, you never heard of that?
No, I may have.
I don't know exactly when. There was this call for a single common language, and I forget when it started, like in the 60s or whatever.
Yeah, that
And-
sounds about right.
Yeah, and so somebody invented this language called Esperanto, and they tried to push it. It never caught on.
Was it? It was spoken.
Yeah, it was spoken and written.
Okay, because there was that one language that some guy tried to do. It was mostly like symbols for writing that actually got really popular with mentally disabled and deaf kids. There was even a
is it
radio
sign
out
language?
about it. No, it was a written language.
That one doesn't ring a bell
It
for
was
me.
symbolic, and he like totally thought it was going to take off, and then it kind of didn't.
Yeah, it's hard to make a new language catch on.
Yeah.
Well, small trivia fact about Esperanto. There was a movie actually that was made that was done entirely in Esperanto. That
Was it any
called-
good?
Oh no. If I recall, the name of the movie was The Incubus, and it starred, guess who?
You.
Jennifer
No.
Aniston.
No,
Brad Pitt.
William Shatner.
Of course. Maybe that's why it didn't take off.
Yeah, it's
Well,
not that
Shatner.
nobody spoke.
He's memorizing his lines, and then he's speaking them as he would in English. And then I went to the refrigerator.
Yeah, I know. So yeah, it's probably hard to be a good actor in your own language, much less one that you don't even know.
Yeah. So I guess,
But at that time, I think he was pretty hard up for work.
well, probably. Are any of the other commandments stick out to you that you think you want to talk about a
A
little
lot
bit?
of them stick out to me as kind of just like little vague.
They're kind of vague and kind of for me like it's hard to argue with something like rule, passion, faith, tradition, and all
Well,
things with
tempered
tempered
reason.
reason.
Well, and,
Yeah.
and I'll be honest, I'll probably wait to the end. I kind of have an overarching theory of what drives them all, but it's not specific to one. It's taking them as a group rather than an individual.
Interesting. Okay, we'll
Yeah.
definitely talk about that.
Yeah, it's essentially though they're just sort of like vague little things that don't really mean a lot to themselves. You can't really run a country or a world based on these rules.
So there has been some vandalism. There wasn't any vandalism until really
Very recently.
Which is,
2008?
yeah, it went like 30 years
30 plus, yeah.
without any vandalism, and then suddenly there's just been this streak of vandalism. Somebody threw polyurethane on the stones, and you can see like there's nothing you can do to get it off.
It stained the stone.
It
I know.
stained the stone, and then
Spray paint.
lots of spray paint, and like little like with Sharpie. People writing like H plus L equals love,
Yeah.
just like dumb little things. But also like some bigger things, the spray paint, some of them said.
It was something along the order of F your New World Order.
Yeah,
stuff
or like
that.
Jesus will win, like
Yeah.
screw you evil, you Satanists will never win.
Really kind of, if I'll be just completely candid here, I was like, this is very off base from what I get from what this says. So
Yeah, I agree with that.
a little weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like it's not exactly causing a groundswell of evil. It's not like the forces of evil are sort of swirling around it. and
Well,
coalescing
there
around
was
it.
a coven of witches that decided that it was their home away from home and would make
Yeah.
yearly pilgrimages.
Really?
That would be a
Yeah.
little creepy and annoying.
Yeah, but it's not like, people aren't really worshiping them. It's not overflowing with people. You can watch these YouTube videos of people going there, and it's like completely abandoned. There's no one else
It's
there.
very vacant.
It's super. I mean, it's not like there's thousands of people flocking to this site.
Or even hundreds at a time, or in a day.
Or even like 10.
Yeah.
The only time I've seen it is on Google Maps, and there was one car parked in the parking area.
And it was probably the people taking the picture.
Yeah.
The Google van.
No, it was the aerial.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. But they did, since the vandalism, they've cleaned it up a little bit, and they've put security cameras in. Yeah. And, posted signs that say it's surveilled
24 hours a day.
And that seems to have cut down on it a little bit. I agree that space. It's not, I wouldn't say that it really touches on anything that really actually pertains to.
No.
Yeah, I think that the vandalism is based on people's interpretations of writings that are trying to interpret what is written on the stone. So it's an interpretation of an interpretation of an interpretation. It's kind of like that telephone game you used to do when you were a kid, and I'd whisper something in your ear and you'd whisper it to the next person. It changes every time, and so they take it as something completely different because it's just been morphed over these multiple writings.
Yeah.
So what they're complaining about doesn't really pertain to what's written there. But again, that's my perspective on it. Again, I still think it's off base.
Well, I've always thought that the paranoia over the whole New World Order thing has always been kind of absurd, and it's out there. I remember it was in the late 80s, the first President Bush, and this was after the fall of the wall and the fall of the Soviet Union. Then he was giving a speech, talking about, the whole bipolar East-West world has kind of crumbled, and now I guess we're going to have to have some sort of new world order because things are going to be different. And the nutcases just went all crazy over that.
A new world order,
a new world order meaning it's going to be one world government. You're going to take over everything and herd us into camps and
Yeah. Well, so I guess you can also kind of look at what's going on in this period in America's history in 2008. Obviously, Obama was elected for the first time, and I think that set some people off a little bit.
Think so?
I think a little bit. If you're kind of already outraged and think that this new world order is a threat, and you think, well, Obama's a terrorist and he's probably part of this new world organization too, and
but the new world order paranoids are usually lefties who are convinced that it's going to be some sort of right wing corporate sort of financed.
Sometimes I found this quote
government
that talks about America's leading billionaires that meet secretly to consider how their wealth could be used to slow the growth of the world's population. So, and it listed philanthropists like Bill Gates and Oprah Winfrey.
Oprah?
Yeah. Ted Turner, Michael Bloomberg, Warren Buffett. So, kind of people who are Obama supporters, who are more left-wing liberal people.
Yeah. And
so I guess there is that theory out there that people who are kind of more left wing are also trying to. So it's I think that it can go both ways. Really.
The whole thing about slowing world population is it's slowing on its own. I mean, these guys are so well informed. That's one thing they don't really need to worry about.
Yeah, that's true. So we've talked about a little bit some of the interpretations of some of the more problematic ones. I guess we'll talk about who commissioned it. We know who made it. It was the Pyramid Granite Company, which is headquartered out of...
They're right,
20 or 30 miles away. Or 10 miles away. It's 10 miles away.
They're in Albert County.
Yeah, they're in Albert County. So they made it. Everybody.
They were contracted to make it.
They were contracted to make it.
It was an interesting story too, because they had a quarry that they got most of their granite from, but they had never quarried a stone as big as these.
Yeah, and there's a lot of kind of speculation with Elbert County is where the Indians believed the center of the universe. Well, the guide stones are placed within 5 miles of where the Native Americans thought
The center
of the universe was. Blah blah blah.
Did they take a
it
poll
was
of
like
all of the Native Americans?
no, and also it's 10 miles from the quarry, and it costs a lot of money to ship that much granite someplace.
And there
so
was
I think
4 places available when this was being made that were available for sale?
Yeah, this one
Yeah.
R.C. Christian paid $5,000 for, so it wasn't that much money. And, it was close enough that it wasn't going to cost a fortune to ship these large stones anywhere. So I think a part of that is a little bit of convenience. So we'll just go ahead and
Call
start
it what
there
it is.
a little
spade
bit.
a spade.
Yeah, call that spade a serious spade. So I guess the first theory I want to talk about is they were Freemasons.
Yeah, could be.
Slash
Rosicrucians.
Rosicrucians is a word that I cannot hardly say, apparently. They are kind of one and the same, but different. People refer to them as different things.
Rosicrucianism? Rosicrucianism?
Yes, is a kind of a predecessor to what we call Freemasonry today. Apparently, this theory posits that RC is short for Rose and Cross, which was the symbology attached to
Rosicrucianism.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So sorry, everyone. And then they've since evolved into Freemasonry. It's a reference to the little phrase that's on the tablet, kind of embedded
the
in
capstone, you mean?
Yeah, on the capstone, and then it's written on the tablet as well. That says, "Let these be guide stones to an age of reason," which echoes this book and kind of just the thinking in general of Thomas Paine.
Yeah,
who, of
famous
course,
Thomas Paine.
very
give me liberty or
famous.
give me death and all that
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah, 18th century Freemason. Apparently, he was actually a Freemason. We have proof that he was a Freemason.
And you totally read his book, right?
No, I didn't. I have to be honest with you, I didn't, because first of all, why? And second of all, I didn't chase the Freemasonry thing very far down the rabbit hole because it just is a giant rabbit hole.
That's kind of a speculative thing.
Oh,
As is Rosicrucian.
Rosicrucianism.
Yes. I guess the thought is the 8 languages, this also kind of wraps into this theory, the 8 languages that are used on the faces of the guide stones for the 12. As we kind of said, some of them are very popular languages. However, a lot, Hebrew and Swahili specifically, aren't even in the top 50 languages spoken in the world.
They're a little obscure, yeah.
So people kind of wonder why those are there instead of things like Cantonese, French, German, Vietnamese, Italian. But apparently, the inclusion of Hebrew suggests conspiracy theorists that the Zionist New World Order is responsible.
Of course, it's always the Jews.
It's always, some kind of Zionist organizations. Again, these all kind of overlap with each other. This one and Rosicrucianism.
Yeah, you're getting it.
Yeah, I'm getting it, man. And then the New World Order, they all kind of overlap with each other.
well, yeah, and I find it strange. I mean, I understand the writings of Thomas Paine, and I can see how, all right, well, what he wrote seems to kind of be echoed in the 10 inscriptions from the guide stones.
Yeah.
But then to go into the Rosicrucianism bit, because the Rosicrucians were, they weren't, historically speaking, they weren't around very long.
They were around in late medieval Germany.
Right, and they put out pamphlets and their thoughts.
They claimed to understand the esoteric truths about nature, the universe, and the spiritual realms that have been concealed from ordinary people.
Yeah,
Right.
Lots and lots of people do, don't they?
And then they disappeared.
Yeah.
Well, okay, well, according to the conspiracy theories, that's because they went underground and
They
became
turned into
secret.
Freemasons.
How do you know the New World Order clan didn't kill them? They felt threatened by them.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, okay,
It's
yeah.
bigger than you think, man.
The only thing I'll add to the Rosicrucianism
Yeah.
theory is that apparently the 14th century founder of Rosicrucianism was a man first identified as Frater CRC and later became Christian Rosenkreuz. And they think that RC Christian is a nod to that somehow. I think it's a kind of bunk, but
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's a weak tie.
yeah.
I mean, I found this and I
Beyond
found
weak.
that, so let's just say that's it.
Yeah.
All right, so Freemasons. So
Freemasons. Next
okay.
is the
Okay.
New World Order. Well, that was Freemasons and Rosicrucianism, kind of.
Rosicrucianism. Rosicrucianism.
I just keep wanting to say Rosencrantz. That's my problem. So, that's that whole theater background. So those are kind of mushed into one. It's hard to kind of pull them
Yeah, you
up.
can't unmix those two.
You can't. New World Order. Mark Dice is an author of a book called The Resistance Manifesto. In 2005, under the pseudonym John Connor.
No, not that John Connor.
Mm-hmm.
Terminator killing Connor.
Yeah.
Really?
Skynet defeating Connor.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, okay,
that's sacrilegious.
Keep going. Okay.
He demanded that the Guidestones be, quote, smashed into 1 million pieces.
Yeah.
He thinks that the monument has a deep satanic origin.
Yeah, really.
So
Okay.
he may be kind of the impetus for this, the graffiti that was happening.
Yeah, because his stuff would have come out just a couple of years before the graffiti, so it